Do you feel sorry for Fergie? Get your calls in now. Let us know your thoughts. Prince Andrew is no longer going to be using his Duke of York title over his links with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, it means his ex-wife has also now lost her Duchess title and will revert to her maiden name, Sarah Ferguson. Now, we want to know if you feel sorry for her after this royal shake-up, or considering that she's faced her own controversies over Epstein, do you have very little sympathy? Now, Lizzie, you're a friend of Sarah Ferguson. I believe you've contacted her this morning?
Yeah, I've reached out because I knew we were going to be talking about her today. I thought it was the right thing to do. And yes, look, I feel sorry for the victims of Epstein, obviously, and my thoughts are with them. But I can't help but my heart hurt a little bit for Sarah. I've been on the show many times talking about the reasons why she wrote that email to Epstein, you know, and sadly she felt threatened by him and was trying to protect her family. And with Sarah, when you know Sarah, I know we all see the headlines and everything else, there is a sweet-hearted lady there who wants to protect her family and her girls. And I think she's made some huge mistakes. You know, having anything to do with Epstein was a total wrong decision in every sense of the word. And no one knows that more than Sarah today.
Have you heard back from her today?
I've heard from her friend who just said to send her love. But obviously Sarah's, you know, just, you know, devastated by all of this. And she feels for the victims as well. You know, she's devastated by all of this that's happened.
All right. So you have sympathy a lot. And obviously, I mean, you are friends with Sarah Ferguson. Henry, any relationship, friendship with Sarah Ferguson?
No, I've only seen her in the flesh once, I think, at the funeral of Daniel DeGale, whose parents set up the African Caribbean Leukemia Trust. I think this was back in 2008 down in Croydon, and she was there. I think she'd been a patron of the charity, and so I took a very positive view of her. But in her heart of hearts, and she's a grown woman, we're all grown-ups, she will recognise that she's in many ways the author of her own misfortune. Yeah. Because I'm old enough to remember the scandals of the early 90s, the John Wyatts, that financier that she ended up having a scandalous affair with, John Bryan, the toe-sucking Texan. Remember, I'm going back a long way.
You are.
I don't want to heap misery on her. And then the fake sheikh scandal back in 2010 when she was filmed undercover saying, gimme, 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 I want 40,000 up front to me and then $500,000 to introduce you to my husband. So her problem has been this thing with rich men and needing money. And the love of money is the root of all evil. And unfortunately, she has to recognise that she has been for, 40 or so years a public figure, married Andrew in 1986, divorced in 1996, but has still been able to wear these titles and go out to all these fancy events and gigs.
Henry,
She's had a very good run, and sadly, here's where it ends, because she is, in many ways, the author of her own misfortune. So I do have sympathy to a degree, but there are lots of people who have greater sympathy for.
Henry, can I say, look, I agree with a lot of what you've said there, and there's no one knows more than Sarah Ferguson today
she looks into her heart of hearts.
Of the mistakes she's made. But we're all human and we all make mistakes, but they're not on the front pages of every paper.
I know.
And one thing you said there, yes, she's lost the titles. She's been dropped by all her charities. Should, you know, how much more are we going to sort of like, you know, point the finger at her for her own ex-husband's mistakes as well?
And hers.
It's not just.
No, and hers.
We should say it's not just what Prince Andrew's behaviour; it's our own behaviour. So let's remind ourselves a little bit of the timeline of events. 2008, Jeffrey Epstein was jailed for soliciting prostitution from a minor. He was put on the sex offenders register in the US. 18 months jail prison sentence. Now, 2011. This was after more allegations had come out and more convictions. Ferguson claimed to have cut off contact with Jeffrey Epstein. This was an interview she gave in March to the Evening Standard, saying she abhorred paedophilia. It was a massive mistake to have borrowed money, to have been in any way connected with Jeffrey Epstein. But then in April, an email has surfaced that she sent to Jeffrey Epstein, calling him a supreme friend and apologising for what he had said in public. Yeah. Now, this has nothing to do with Prince Andrew. This is all on Sarah Ferguson. So publicly she's saying, I made a big mistake, I want to have nothing to do with this man now that I know the horrors behind it. But privately, she's not saying that.
Well, as I said before, look, she's made some shocking mistakes, and this is one of the worst ever. And this man is toxic, even from the grave, he's toxic. And the fact is, she said, and I'm telling you her side of the story, not saying I agree with it in any shape or form, but her side of the story is that she was being threatened. She borrowed money off him, he was coming after her, and she felt this was the only way to protect her girls. And at the end of the day, she is a mother and very protective. And, you know, it was stupid, yes. It was.
Okay.
You know,
if she's being threatened, why not go public with something like that? Why not say, look, you know, you can go to the police if someone's threatening you.
She was a member of the royal family,
I agree,
even though divorced.
She thought it was going to cause more embarrassment to the royal family. They were her words.
Right. Okay. Well, let's hear what people are saying at home. Naomi's got in touch, and Naomi, good morning. What are your thoughts? Do you have sympathy with Sarah Ferguson?
No, not at all. I don't have sympathy for Sarah because before she married Prince Andrew, she was plain old Sarah Ferguson. And from the moment that they divorced, she should have reverted back to plain old Sarah Ferguson. And she's not a duchess. She wasn't a duchess, you know, when she met Andrew. And she's caused huge embarrassment over the years for various things, including accepting handouts from a sheikh and whatever over the years. No, she is plain Sarah Ferguson.
Okay, Naomi, what do you say to Lizzie, who knows Sarah Ferguson, saying that, look, her actions were motivated for the protection of the reputation of the royal family?
Well, I don't buy that at all. At the end of the day, as I say, she's made a lot of money from the royal family and she wants to continue to do so. And I don't see why she should. You know, she's not really a member of the royal family, even though her children are princesses, but they're separate individuals. She is Andrew's ex-wife.
Lizzie?
Well, Naomi, you speak a lot of truth there. I mean, but Sarah, look, we can take away the charities, the titles, but we can't take away the fact she's a great mother. They, you know, Beatrice and Eugene do so much charity work. They're very much loved. King Charles is very, very fond of them, as is Prince William. And they do amazing things, charity work that, you know, isn't really talked about. And I do.
I'm sure that's true. And Sarah
Sarah
herself has done some charity work. I mentioned the African Caribbean Leukemia Trust. But it's the love of money and it's the entitlement, and that's what got Andrew into such trouble. That's one of the reasons why he was hanging out with really corrupt rich people like Epstein. And unfortunately, that's what got Sarah into trouble with the men that she had affairs with, and also the people that she's consorted with, including Epstein. And that's what she's going to miss. The money and the lifestyle, and how much sympathy do we have for that?
Yeah, but Henry, I agree with what you're saying, and they've fallen on their swords, both of them. But the fact is, Sarah has no longer got the titles. She loved her charity work. Yep. She also had cancer, and she did a huge amount.
All the sympathy in the world for that. All the sympathy in the world for that.
Look,
but
she's paying the price, and I just think how much, you know, she's a human being. How much can we throw at her? She's got to make a living now. Don't forget, they both have to.
Okay.
I mean, how are
well,
they going
I don't. Look, a lot of people out in the world that are struggling at the moment.
I
don't think we need to get our tiny violins out.
I'm not getting the violins out, but I'm just saying, you know, how much more can we take away? She's got the titles. She's had her charity work taken away.
The question that I think is on a lot of people's minds is, firstly, and I know this might sound like a bit of a naive question, is why are members of one of the wealthiest families on the planet, certainly in the country, going cap in hand to American billionaires asking for $10,000 here, $15,000 there, $100,000 there? Why are they? Because no one's going to give you money without wanting something in return. Yeah. Very few people are going to give that. So that's the number one question. And number two question, after 2008, when this man has been convicted of soliciting prostitution from a minor, why is there any contact after that? Why are people not realising that contact after that is absolutely unacceptable? No matter how publicly they say, I abhor paedophilia, which you'd expect them to say, why continue to be in touch with a vile, despicable...
You know why? It's money and status, and it's the same thing that brought down Lord Mandelson. Exactly the same thing. He didn't want to detach himself from Epstein because of the money.
Right.
Yeah, and anyone linked with this man is now toxic and a toxic brand. It's vile.
Naomi, thank you for kicking us off. Billy's in South Ayrshire. Billy, welcome to the show. What are your thoughts? Do you have sympathy for Sarah Ferguson?
Hi, guys. Well, considering who she was with, yes, I have sympathy because it's not just Prince Andrew that's been in this situation, because you hear stories of different members of the royal family. I don't know anything else other than what I've been hearing about Prince Andrew. But what's no fair is the way that Fergie's been treated. I mean, yes, she's in a bit of a difficult situation. There's two ways she can go. She can stay with him if she wants, or the door's there. All she has to do is go through it. It's up to her.
But Billy, people make choices, and the choices that she made was to publicly say, I want nothing to do with this man, and then privately, the communications continued. So how do we explain that?
In my opinion, that's just stupid. I mean, in public, she says, right, I'm wanting nothing to do with this guy. Then behind closed doors, she's wanting everything to do with this man. So my question to her, if I was speaking to her, right, behind closed doors, you're still with him. And in the public eye, you're not with him. So what's it going to be?
OK, Billy, thank you. Let's speak to Janice, who's in Essex. Janice, welcome to the show. What are your thoughts?
Hi, lovely to speak to you guys again. Firstly, can I please say, look, she's had a lot of chances. I get in the early days with Andrew, it wasn't great. But she's messed up. But then I do know she has tried to do a lot of good. But my goodness, how can you go cap in hand to somebody like Epstein for 15 grand? Now, she's done a lot of good. She's had lots of projects that she's got a load of money from. Why didn't she use that money wisely? She has got a muse house in Mayfair. Why can't they live there? Hang on a minute, can I please just finish? I have so much admiration for Lizzie, because Lizzie was known as a footballer, wife, and look where she is now. Why didn't Fergie take a leaf out of Lizzie's book?
Oh, OK.
Well, thank you.
Lizzie?
Thank you, Janice.
Why couldn't you have been more of a mentor to Sarah Ferguson?
I thought, I actually did help Sarah do some fitness workouts once. I told her to do a workout video. But look, thank you very much, Janice. It's very kind of you. But I think what we've got to look at with Sarah, she, from the, and I'm not saying get the violins out before you say, but she has been in the press. They have, you know, from her weight issues, called her, you know, Princess of Pork, Duchess of Pork, and now Duchess of Scandals. And compared to Princess Diana the whole time, she didn't have it easy in the media. And I'm afraid she didn't, by all accounts, get a good divorce settlement. That's why she did all these ventures, these, you know, going and doing her interviews with Oprah and doing the Weight Watchers and stuff like that. She was a grafter and a survivor. She didn't shrink back, and she's done, you know. And
but like a lot of
I have
people
to
in
say,
this,
and the Queen adored her. The Queen, despite all her errors and mistakes, our late Queen adored her.
Henry?
Problem is, like many people in that the gilded cage, living beyond their means. This is the problem, because if, as what I've read is right, she has managed to make some decent work, grafting, etc. Maybe even if the divorce settlement wasn't great, she was living in this fantastic 30-bedroom mansion. I'm assuming not paying anything, you know, in the grounds of Windsor, and so all the money that she's making comes to her, and it's for her to decide. But if she's still spending and spending and spending, that's where you end up.
Exactly.
OK, Janice, thank you. Pat's in Ayrshire. Pat, welcome to the show. What are your thoughts?
Oh, good morning.
Hi.
Yes, well, I've got no sympathy for her whatsoever, because over the years she's made so many mistakes, and she's done it again and again and again. And how Lizzie can sit there and stand up for her, I really don't know, because how can you support somebody who supported Epstein, who took money from Epstein? I really don't get it.
Can I say I don't agree with what she did with Epstein one bit.
Yeah,
I
but
think
you're
it was
still
a massive
sticking
mistake.
up for her.
But no, I'm not. I'm just explaining
You
her
are.
truth. I'm explaining her truth of why she did then get back in touch with him, because she was getting threatened by him, and she didn't want to go and take it further with the police because she thought it would cause more embarrassment to the royal family that there already was. I'm just giving her version of events of what she said.
If she really was threatened to the point where she felt she had to turn tail and then send these little emails to him, perhaps she could show us the evidence of that. He's now gone. He can't, well, I was going to say he can't threaten her beyond the grave.
This threat came in the form of a phone call,
Right.
Yeah, he had a phone call and to her...
It's difficult to prove that.
Yeah,
and PR agent, her agent, also said he got some very threatening... but it's great.
If that could be stood up, then people would say, OK, you are
agree,
under
Henry,
pressure.
And I would love Sarah to come on this show and tell her truth and her story.
Pat, does that go anywhere near explaining her version of events? Does that change your mind at all?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I remember right back from in the 80s with the toe sucking and all the other stuff that went on, and to then try and say to, oh, well, she got called this and that, and she was compared to Diana. You can't keep doing that and bringing Diana into it. I'm sorry.
OK, Pat...
She's responsible for her own actions and her own behaviour.
Understood. Pat, thank you. Maria's in Liverpool. Maria, thanks for getting in touch. What are your thoughts? Do you have sympathies for Sarah Ferguson?
No, I don't. Oh, hello, good morning, first of all. I don't have sympathies for Sarah, no. But what I don't understand is Lizzie has said that Fergie is, a good mother, etc. But I really don't see how you can be a good mother if the precedent that you're setting your daughters is that it's okay to receive money from a convicted paedophile and then, follow on with emails, etc. I certainly don't have any friends that I know who have had relationships, I don't mean sexual, with paedophiles and be termed a good mother. If she was from a council estate somewhere and poor, etc., she would be dragged through the newspapers and everything. So I don't see how you can say Fergie, has been an excellent mother sort of thing when she's accepted money from a paedophile.
Lizzie, what do you have to say to the point that Maria's making?
Look, I've met Beatrice and Eugene, and they're wonderful girls, and they, as I said, do amazing charity work. And my heart goes out to those girls, I'll be honestly, because it's not their fault with the circumstances. But as I said before, I totally disagree with having any involvement from the start with this man. As I said, he's toxic, still toxic from the grave. And Sarah said she only got back in touch with him because she was trying to protect.
But there's also...
And he was she was scared for her life.
OK, but just because Maria brought it up, and with her daughters, the Mail were reporting that she took apartments in New York. She was the first to celebrate my release. This was Jeffrey Epstein talking, with her 2 daughters in tow. She visited me with a policeman sitting at my front desk. She brought her daughters to visit Jeffrey Epstein when he was released from prison, what's been reported.
Totally wrong. We all agree with that. That's not
what's wrong that she did it?
Yeah, of course it is. And I don't understand why.
Was it just terrible judgment, or was it she was trying to stay in his favour because he was giving money?
I really think her judgment has been terrible. And you've listed on many occasions where it has been. And it's been played out in all the papers to read.
Well, we're all human. We all make mistakes. But I mean, of course, she's lived a much more luxurious and protected life than the vast majority of people out there. She's had all these privileges, and unfortunately, this is what she's done with it.
But also, if you're to do something wrong, Henry, it's not going to be on the front page of the paper.
No.
And everyone judging you and reading it, and seeing the headlines.
I'm sure, though, that most people, if they found out that someone they're associated with has been convicted of crimes such as heinous, would probably cut off all communication,
Totally.
I would think.
I would hope so.
Maria, thank you. Anthony's in South Yorkshire. Anthony, welcome to the show. What are your thoughts?
Yes, good morning, and good morning to your panel. Yeah, I think Sarah Ferguson, she's like a lot more of his friends. They're all running scared. They're all running away. Our daughter suffered 14 years of physical and mental abuse by a similar man who's now in prison. And I have no sympathy whatsoever for Sarah Ferguson and her friends and Andrew. I think they should stand down. It's time we remove the lot of them. There's a lot more than her, and they're all running scared, making excuses up now for what's been happening.
Anthony, thank you. And I'm sorry for what you have been through, but thank you very much for your call. It's an important call. Thank you. Look, thank you all for your calls on that and your messages. After the break, we're asking...